Hi everyone. Today we are converting our quadratics from vertex form to standard form. You can see that the vertex form of the equation actually has a binomial here. So what we're going to do is multiply our binomial and then multiply by our leading coefficient so that we can change this vertex form to look like standard form over here. Okay, so first thing is we got to fix something. This equal on C should be a plus C, not an equal C. So this is a plus sign. All right, so example 1, 5 times the quantity of x plus 2 squared minus 9. So the first thing I need to do is take care of this binomial. X plus 2 quantity squared is written as x plus 2 times x plus 2. Okay, now it's at this point that you need to multiply these together. So that means you could do distribution, you could do FOIL, or you could do your box method. So we're just going to remind you right here, you've got distribution, you could FOIL, or you could do your box. So this is what we did in the last class. Okay, all right, when you get that answer, it's still going to be in parentheses down here. So this answer goes right here, and that would be x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay, now we need to take and distribute the 5. So we're going to take our 5 and we're going to distribute it to each of the terms inside of the parentheses. So that gives us 5x squared. 5 times 4 is 20x, and 5 times another 4 is positive 20. We still have this minus 9 that has to be brought down here so that we can now combine these like terms. So we have the 5x squared, the 20x, and then 20 minus 9 is positive 11. Okay, so when we're converting from vertex form to standard form, first thing is we have to rewrite to a binomial multiplication, okay, and then proceed down through our steps. Okay, so here's another example. So here we have -3 times the quantity x minus 4 squared plus 7. So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this x minus 4 and put it 2 times since it was squared. And then I'm going to go off and I'm going to multiply this together. And that is what becomes x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, then we're going to take and distribute the -3 to each of those terms. So -3x squared, positive 24x, and then -48. I have to make sure I bring down my 7. Then I'm going to combine these two terms, and that gives me -41. So my final answer, -3x squared plus 24x minus 41. So this is still doing all of the multiplication. So the first thing is you multiply the binomial, then you multiply the leading coefficient, and last you combine those constants together. Okay, so those are easy. This one is a little different. This one has a -1/2 in the front. That's okay. We could still multiply by -1/2. So the first thing that we're going to do in this step, looks like it did not get in here, is we are going to take and rewrite as x plus 2 times x plus 2 and then minus 1. So I rewrote the binomial. Okay, then we multiply these together and I get x squared plus 4x plus 4. And now I have to multiply. So when I multiply this -1/2, -1/2 times x squared is a -1/2 x squared. -1/2 times 4, put it in a calculator. Okay, -1 times 4 is -4, divide by 2 is -2. -1 times 4 is -4, divided by 2 is -2, and then we bring down the -1. Okay, so the last step is just to combine. -2 minus 1 is -3. Okay, so even though you have a fraction out on the front, that's okay. You can still multiply through by your fraction. Now in this case, they put the fraction inside of the binomial, so this makes it a little more difficult. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we have to rewrite that binomial. So that's here in yellow. Step 1, rewrite that binomial. Then we're going to, step 2 is multiply the binomials together. So this time x times x was x squared, -1/4 x, another -1/4 x, and then -1/4 times -1/4. Okay, 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, so 1/16. All right, multiply by the leading coefficient. Okay, so I've combined my 1/4 together to give me -2/4, and now I'm going to multiply by this leading coefficient. 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times -2 is -4 divided by 4x. 2 times 1 is 2 divided by 16. The 5 just comes straight down. Okay, at this point, I'm going to reduce these terms. I know that 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I'm going to take that 4 divided by 4 and make that just a 1, so that becomes just x. And 2 divided by 16, I know that I can divide each of those by 2, which becomes 1/8. Okay, at this point, I'm just going to take my 1/8 plus 5. That's 5 1/8, but if I convert that, that gives me 41/8. So you could have said 5 1/8. You will see most of the time that it is 41/8. Okay, so these are all the different steps. Okay, so here is a slide with 3 different problems for you guys to try, and these correct answers are noted by the green check marks. Okay, so you should be able to multiply them all through to see how you get each one of these. I think A and B are easier, and of course C, because you have that 1/3, that's where your fractions are going to get you a little bit. Okay, but this C is the extension problem. So you would just use the same steps that we did before and multiply these through. And then these last 2 slides are your actual homework that are sitting in your Google Classroom.